Jai Hind to all the SRPians. This is Shashank sir. Dear students, welcome to the online classes of SRPS once again. Since we have been learning chapter 2nd in class 8 from trade to territory, the company establishes power. Since in the last class we have learned about company rule expands, and after the battle of Boxer in 1764, the company appointed residents in Indian states, and just after that they started subsidiary alliance. Okay, and also we came to know about power like the residential power and subservience. Alright, now I'd like to tell you about Tipu Sultan, also called the Tiger of Mysore, in this video. As we know, Mysore had grown in strength under the leadership of powerful rulers like Hyder Ali, ruled from 1761 to 1782, and his famous son Tipu Sultan. In what happened with the Tipu Sultan? Mysore controlled the profitable trade of the Malabar coast, or the company purchased pepper and cardamom. Let me show you the Malabar coast in the map. Well, as you can see in this map, this is the Mysore, and this coast alongside the Indian Ocean, this is called Malabar coast. Malabar coast, okay? Malabar coast. Alright. Let me tell you what is the main grievance between Tipu Sultan and British. What was the fight actually? Because in 1785 Tipu Sultan stopped the export of sandalwood, pepper and cardamom through the ports of his kingdom, and this allowed the local merchants from trading with the company. He also established a close relationship with the French in India and modernized his army with their help. So that's why British were furious. They saw Hyder and Tipu Sultan as ambitious, arrogant and dangerous ruler who had to be controlled and crushed. So 4 wars were fought with Mysore. First, Ingao-Mysore War in 1767 to 1769. Next, second Ingao-Mysore War 1780 to 84, 1790 and 92 third, and ultimately 1799, when only the last battle of Seringapatnam did the company ultimately win a victory. Tipu Sultan was killed defending his capital, Seringapatnam. Mysore was placed under the former ruling dynasty of Wodeyars, and subsidiary alliance was imposed on the state. Now let me show you legend of Tipu Sultan. What is the story? Actually, kings are often surrounded by legend and their powers glorified through folklore. Here is a legend about Tipu Sultan who became the ruler of Mysore in 1782. He said that once he went hunting in forest with a French friend. There he came face to face with a tiger. His gun did not work and his danger fell to the ground. He battled with the tiger unarmed until they managed to reach down and pick up the dagger. Dagger means knife. Finally, he was able to kill the tiger in the battle. After this, he came to know known as the Tiger of Mysore. He had the image of the tiger on his flag. Let me show you through an animation. Tipu Sultan. The 18th century saw the rise of a powerful kingdom in the South India. Mysore it was, stewarded by the father-son duo of Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan. Okay. They were efficient rulers and were always at war with the neighboring provinces, and the English were trying to gain a foothold in South India. Once upon a time, when he went to hunt. He killed a tiger single-handedly, and that's why he also named Tiger of the Mysore. He also called as Tiger of Mysore. But Tipu Sultan was more dreaded by the enemy, especially the British. Let me show you some sword for fighting as well as the arrow for archery. He had made a rocket with a sword inbuilt in it that took the British by surprise. Tipu Sultan understood that the need for modern warfare and worked towards modernizing his navy and introduced new weapons to fight the British. Tipu Sultan fought 2 wars with the British and died trying to save his kingdom. The reason for his downfall was his inability to garner support from the neighboring kings. Well, next here it comes, war with the Marathas. Actually, the third battle of Panipat shattered the dreams of the Marathas in 1761, and ultimately it is also led to the division of Maratha Confederacy. Four chief rulers from the four centers under a Peshwa based in Pune. And let me tell you what is Confederacy, that is also called alliance. And Marathas were subdued in a series of wars. In the first war that ended in 1782 with the Treaty of Salwai, there was no clear victor. The second Anglo-Maratha War was happened in 1803 to 5, was fought on different fronts, resulting in the British gaining Odisha and territories north of the Yamuna River, including Agra and Delhi. Finally, in the third Anglo-Maratha War in 1817-19, crushed Maratha power. The Peshwa was removed and sent away to Bithur near Kanpur with a pension. The company now had complete the territories south of the Vindhya. So let me show you through an animation. In this video, we will be able to describe how the Maratha Empire came under the company rule. The Maratha Empire extended over most Indian territories in the 18th century. It was divided into small states ruled by different chiefs. These chiefs, called Sardars, are responsible for administration, finance and defense. They belong to different dynasties, as you can see on this video and the image. These Sardar are held together in alliance. The principal chief is called Peshwa. Sardars give the order. Some of the famous Sardar was Mahaji Sindhia, Nana Fadnavis. They took the East India Company through the wars. The first Anglo-Maratha Wars in 1782 ended with the Treaty of Salwai with no clear victor. The second war, fought from 1803 to 1805, ended with the company gaining Odisha and the territories north of the Yamuna, including Agra and Delhi. The third war between Maratha, fought from 1817 to 1819, resulted in the British completely taking over entire Maratha Empire, including the territories south to the Vindhyas. As you can see through the image, the Peshwa was sent to the Bithur with a pension and removed. Let's take a look what we have learned from this video. Take a screenshot, please. Now let me talk about the doctrine of lapsi, the most important strategies of British for annexations occurred under Lord Dalhousie. The doctrine declared that if an Indian ruler died without a male heir, his kingdom would lapse, that is, become a part of company territory. One kingdom after another was annexed simply by applying this doctrine. Satara, Sambalpur, Udaipur, Nagpur and Jhansi also annexed through this doctrine of lapse. Here let me talk about setting up a new administration. As administrative unit called presidencies, there were 3 presidencies. There were Bengal, Madras and Bombay. Each was ruled by a governor. Supreme head of the administration was the Governor General Warren Hastings, the first Governor General. This is important, note down please. And introduced several administrative reforms, notably the sphere of justice. You have to note down Qazi, a judge, Mufti, a jurist of the Muslim community responsible for the expounding the law that Qazi would administer. Impeachment, a trial by the House of Lords in England for charges of misconduct brought against a person in the House of Commons. As you can see in this video, this is a trial of Warren Hastings painted by R.G. Pollard in 1789. Okay, so ultimately we are done in this chapter. So the conclusion is, thus the East India Company was transformed from a trading company to a territorial colonial power. By 1857, company came to exercise direct rule over about 63% of the territory and 17% of the population of Indian subcontinent. So that's all for today. In the next class I will talk about and learn about the let's recall. Till then, stay safe and keep learning. Thank you very much.